Good afternoon. Sorry for the delay. The next case is CV2005239. This is in the interest of Peyton Sanderson, Michael Blair, and Kimberly Sanderson. Children. The case is set for a permanency hearing and pretrial. The case is currently set for trial September 30th, 2021 at 3 p.m. with a dismissal date of November 27th, 2021. The hearing today is being conducted pursuant to emergency orders of the Texas Supreme Court via Zoom video conference. Participating in the hearing today on behalf of the department is caseworker Gwen Garms, Supervisor Amanda Outlaw, and Brown County Assistant Attorney Terry Moore. The mother of the child is June Sanderson, and I don't believe Ms. Sanderson's on our conference. Patrick Howard is her attorney ad litem, and Mr. Howard is present. The alleged father of the child, Peyton, is Matthew Daniels. He has been cited by publication through posting on June 7th, 2021. He is not present. The father of Kimberly is Michael Delacruz, who has entered an appearance in a case in the past. He is not present. Lee Haney has been appointed as his attorney ad litem, and Mr. Haney is present. Previously identified as the father of the child, Michael, was Jonathan Blair. He was subsequently ruled out by paternity testing and non-suited and dismissed from the case. Tanner Middleton is the father of the child, and Mr. Middleton, of the child Michael, and Mr. Middleton is participating in the hearing today. Emily Miller is the attorney and guardian ad litem for the children, and she is participating in the hearing. Kasha and Chris Engelman are a maternal aunt and uncle of the children, and they are both participating in the hearing, and they are also the caregivers for the children, as I understand it. All right, if we are ready to proceed, I'm going to ask, Ms. Garms, Mr. Middleton, and Mr. and Mrs. Engleton. If each of you could raise your right hands, please. Each of you solemnly swear or affirm any testimony you give today before the court will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Thank you. All right, if we're ready to proceed, Ms. Moore.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'll call Ms. Garms.
All right, go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. What is your connection, Ms. Garms, to the Sanderson, Blair, and Sanderson children?
I am the permanency case manager.
Okay. And these three children are currently placed with their maternal aunt and uncle. Is that correct?
That's correct.
The Engelmans.
Yes.
All right. And first of all, mom has, as I understand it, filed a relinquishment of her parental rights regarding all three children. And that was filed with the court on June the 8th. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And where did that take place?
It took place at our office in Brownwood.
Okay. And did mom seem to understand what she was doing? Have any questions? That kind of thing?
She seemed to understand what she was doing, and she said she had talked to her lawyer about it as well.
Okay. All right. And so in your opinion, did she sign the document freely and voluntarily, knowingly and intentionally?
Yes.
Okay. And she wasn't under anybody's duress or coercion of any kind?
No.
Okay. Now, with regard to, there's a different father for each child. Is that correct?
That's correct.
All right. And so the father for Peyton Sanderson and the father for Kimberly Sanderson, we're not quite sure either who they are or where they are. Is that a fair statement?
For Peyton Sanderson, we do not know where he is, Matthew Daniels.
Okay. All right. Now, with regard to Michael De La Cruz, and he's the father of Kimberly, let me ask, has he done any services of any kind?
He has not completed any services except for a previous FBSS case.
Okay, all right. So nothing with regard to this particular current case.
That is correct.
All right. And finally, there is the father who's here today. His name is Tanner Middleton, and he is the father of Michael Blair. Is that correct?
That's correct.
All right. And has Mr. Middleton completed any services, been asked to perform any services? What's his status?
He has completed services recently. He hasn't previously, but in the last couple of months, he's completed parenting classes and his mental health.
Okay. Now, do the children, especially Michael, do they know him?
No, he does not. Not that I'm
Okay.
aware of.
All right. So Mr. Middleton hasn't had like active involvement in the children's lives up to this point?
No.
Or especially with regard to Michael, hasn't had active involvement in Michael's life up to this point?
No.
Okay. So the placement of the children with the aunt and uncle, that's meeting all of their needs?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And how are the children doing? Have they bonded with their aunt and uncle? And
The children are doing very well. They're thriving in the environment. They've bonded with Mr. and Mrs. Engelman and doing very well.
okay. All right. So then it's meeting all of their physical, educational, medical, psychosocial needs, all of that sort of thing. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. What then is the ultimate goal for these three children?
The ultimate goal would probably be adoption from the Engelmans.
Okay. All right. Mom has relinquished, of course, and two of the fathers, I'm assuming that Mr. Dela Cruz, he had been involved, I guess, for a while or something, or he was involved in some of these services, but have we not seen him recently?
I've seen him every month, and he's more concerned about if the child is really his. He wants a DNA test, and he says he's not really motivated to complete anything until he finds that for sure.
I see. Okay. All right. So at this point then, essentially what we're asking for today is for the temporary managing conservatorship to stay in effect with regard to the children, that mom's relinquishment of her parental rights be accepted by the court and affirmed, and that the placement be continued and approved, and the hearing continue, or final hearing be on September 30th. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Is there anything else about any of the three children or the placement or any of the parents that you feel like the court needs to know about at this point to make any decisions today?
I believe we covered everything, other than Michael was recently diagnosed with ADHD. That's the only thing that has changed.
All right. And so now Michael is, well, he'll be 5 in October. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. Will he be in pre-K this fall, or is it, I can't remember grade levels and such, or
Engelman, yeah, he would be in pre-K, but the Engelmans feel that he's not quite ready for pre-K, so they're going to keep him in Head Start.
Okay. Okay. And so the, of course, Peyton, I guess, is the oldest. So Peyton maybe will be starting pre-K.
He was actually in pre-K this past year. He'll be starting kindergarten this year.
Okay. Gotcha. All right. Anything else you feel like the judge needs to know about today?
I don't think so.
Okay. I'll pass the witness.
All right, thank you. Mr. Howard, any questions?
No questions.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Haney
No questions, Your Honor.
and Ms. Miller.
Yes, Your Honor, thank you. Ms. Garms, we had a mediation in this case back on June the 4th. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, and we've basically resolved the case as far as mom goes, right?
That's correct.
Okay. Did any of the fathers show up to the mediation?
Only one father, Michael Dela Cruz, showed up 2 hours late.
Okay. And so basically everyone had signed the MSA at that point or we were in the process of getting signatures at that point. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. And so the first provision in that was that Ms. Sanderson execute her relinquishment, which she has done. And then the department's intent is to proceed to terminate all three fathers at a final hearing, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And have all three of those gentlemen been served?
Yes.
Okay. And we still have paternity issues on who? Who is denying paternity? Mr. Middleton?
No, Mr. Dela Cruz.
Okay. All right. And could you arrange a paternity test between now and the final hearing for him?
He was actually adjudicated as the father. I'm not
Okay.
sure if I can do that.
Very good. Okay. Thank you very much for clarifying that. And was that in an attorney general case?
Yes.
Okay. And the final provision in the agreement was that the children will remain in the home of the Engelmans pending any further court orders, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And so basically we're in a holding pattern until the final hearing date, right?
Yes.
Okay. No further questions. Thank you.
Any additional questions?
No, Your Honor, I'll just ask the court to take judicial notice of the court file.
All right, thank you. Any other questions from the other attorneys for this witness?
No, Your
No,
Honor.
Your Honor.
And Mr. Howard, did you have other witnesses?
I have none.
Mr. Haney
No, sir.
and Ms. Miller?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Middleton, is there anything you have questions of Ms. Carms about, or any testimony you want to offer on your behalf in the case relating to your position?
The only thing that I would like to add to the court is I don't know with like where I stand in it with not being on his birth certificate, if I have any rights at all to him.
My understanding, and I'd have to go back and find the order, but I believe there's an order that has adjudicated you to be the father of the child, Michael Sanderson, at this point. So I believe you've been legally established as the father of the child. Am I mistaken about that, Ms. Garms? Isn't that correct? I mean, I can find the order, but I know
That's correct.
there's a paternity test, and I believe there was a subsequent order that adjudicated you. So at this point, you are the father of that child. Now, the department at each of these hearings in the case is required to set forth a permanency plan. A permanency plan is basically a statement by the department as to what it intends to seek at the time of a trial in this case, based on the evidence or the facts as it understands them at this point. Based on my understanding of their permanency plan is to ask the court to terminate the parental rights of each of the parents, including your rights to your child in this case. Now, whether or not the court would actually grant an order terminating your parental rights would depend on what the evidence is that is presented to the court at the time of trial. So just because they might ask for that at the time of trial does not mean that would occur. But it is quite possible it could occur depending on what the evidence is. You would have an opportunity to present evidence at the trial to seek to avoid that result or to seek custody of the child if that's what your desire is. And the court would have to also consider that evidence to determine what should happen with the child if your rights were not terminated and where the child would go. So right now you're the father. You still have the opportunity to work with the department on your service plan if you wish to try to demonstrate that you can provide a safe environment for your child if the child were placed back with you. And you have a right in any litigation, I think I've advised you in the past, to retain a lawyer to represent you in this case. to protect your rights if you feel the need for legal advice. If you are opposed to what the department's wanting to do in the case and cannot afford a lawyer, you can establish that, then the court can appoint a lawyer to represent you in the case. Given the fact that the department's indicating they are seeking termination of your parental rights, at least that's their intent at this point, you may wish to consider whether you want to retain a lawyer to represent you, or if you cannot afford one, whether you want to make a request for a court-appointed lawyer, and then we'd have to take that up, determine if you would qualify. If you don't retain a lawyer or have a court-appointed lawyer, then you would be representing yourself at the time of any trial in the case. So do you know how you want to proceed at this point? Or are you intending to try to retain a lawyer to represent you to pursue your rights relating to this child, or are you requesting a court-appointed lawyer? You're going to represent yourself, or you have a different outcome?
Request a court-appointed lawyer.
Okay. Well, I believe I previously swore you in, but just to make sure, I'm going to raise, I need to raise your right hand again. You solemnly swear or affirm any testimony you give today before the court will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right, thank you. And before I begin, who was the mediator in this case, Ms. Miller?
It's Judge Prohl.
It's Judge Prohl. Okay, thank you. All right, sir, could you state your name for the record, please?
Tanner Glenn Middleton.
All right, and you have been identified as the father of the child, Michael Blair, in this case. Other than that child, do you have any other children?
Yes, I do.
Okay, how many other children do you have?
I have one other one.
Okay, and where is that child? Is that child in your custody or somewhere else?
At the moment, the child is with my mother.
Okay, and are you under any orders to pay child support for that child?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and how much are you ordered to pay for that child?
$212 a month.
All right, and are you current on that?
Yes, sir, I am.
Okay. Are you currently employed?
With the Cisco Fire Department.
All right, and I assume that's a full-time position?
Part-time reserve.
Okay. And what is your monthly net take-home income from that job?
I work 24 hours off 96. I get $100 per shift and $50 per call when I'm not on duty.
Okay. Well, what I need you to tell me is, on average, what your net take-home pay per month is. Because I'm not going to sit here and do that math. I'll be frank with you.
Yes, sir. $500 a month.
Okay. And other than that income, do you have any other income?
No, sir, I do not.
All right. Do you have any assets of any significant value that you can use to hire a lawyer?
No, sir, I do not.
Okay. Are you receiving any type of governmental assistance, food stamps, Medicaid, anything like that?
No, sir.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, I'm going to find that you qualify for a court-appointed lawyer. I'm going to appoint Jennifer Broughton, who's an attorney here in Brown County, as your attorney ad litem. Ms. Broughton will be notified of that appointment. You'll need to get with her to discuss your case and your position in the case, so she can represent you. As I indicated before, the case currently remains set for trial on September 30th, 2021 at 3 p.m. So it'll be important for you to get with her as quickly as you can. It'll take a little bit for her to get notified of that appointment. Okay. All right. Anything else from anyone for today?
No, sir.
All right, I'm required to notify any parent in this type of case that because of the nature of these proceedings, your parental custodial rights and duties to your child may be subject to restriction or even termination, and your progress to any court orders or plans of service will be reviewed at future hearings in this case, including at the trial. That will be adjourned for today. Thank you very much.